Hello and welcome to Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben and as always I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And Pete.
Hello.
And someone's energised this evening.
I'm not. Forest just lost.
Yeah, but Pete's happy because Liverpool won 9-0 yesterday. Mike's like depressed because Forest lost to Spurs today, so...
9-0.
How's we've done 9 before? It was against Forest, I
Only
think.
twice.
7.
Oh, did you not? Oh yeah, it was 7, sorry.
9's only been scored twice in the Premier League.
Well, anyway, with our football podcast. So, yeah, today we're going to talk about fairies and the Cottingley Fairies, the Cottingley Fairy hoax.
So I wanted to do something then, but I won't.
Well, thanks to the returning listeners, then we'll get into it.
Yep.
And I'll just say before we start, you can follow us on Facebook at Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse, SoundCloud and most other podcasting platforms at Cutting to the Bull in the PTA, and YouTube is Apocalypse Bull. Give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, and drop us a very nice review if you want to. Message the page, communicate. It's up to you. I don't mind.
Bit of friendly banter.
Man of the people, me. Right, so let's thank some new and returning listeners. I'll read out a selection. Salt Lake City in Utah, home of the Mormons. Well, it is.
Yeah, I know, they just make me laugh every time I think about them.
Islamabad in Pakistan, Copenhagen in Denmark, Castro Valley, California, Woodbridge, Canada, Lubbock in Texas, Dublin, Ireland, New City, New York, there is New York as well, Sydney, Australia, Amarillo, Texas, Oslo in Norway.
Is this the way to Amarillo?
Yeah, I don't know where it is.
Texas.
Texas?
Well, yeah, but I don't know where it is in Texas.
It's there.
Well, that's helpful.
Yep.
Cortland Manor in New York, Bourbon, Oregon, San Antonio, Texas, Tirana in Albania, London in the United Kingdom, Athens in Greece, Madrid, Spain, Ashburn, Virginia, and Guadalajara, Spain. Thank you very much for listening. It's very much appreciated.
Tirana, Albania. I think that's a new one, isn't it? Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome, Albania.
I want to go to Albania,
I've not
actually.
seen Albania come up yet.
No, I want to go to Albania. I work with an Albanian guy. He's painted it in a nice light.
I don't think it's that nice, is it?
This coast apparently is really nice because you're on
is
the Italian... Italy's over the sea on the coast. So it's freaking roasting on there.
So why didn't we stay there then? I would rather stay somewhere like that than come here.
Because when he came over here, it was a bit shit.
Yeah.
You know, they just come out of the Soviet Union. But even on Top Gear, they went there, it looked quite nice. They've done it all up now. Look, he said the Mafia's built it up. Mafia's built the infrastructure of Albania.
Fair enough. They
But at least they're putting something back.
Yep, they can be useful sometimes.
Hey, Pablo did it.
Well, look, they give the drugs to the many, and you know what I mean. They take off the riffraff from the streets.
Ironically, the wealthy Americans built up Pablo Stone by buying all his cocaine. He was building football stadiums and schools and hospitals. Ironically, the US giving more in that aid than any other. But let's talk about fairies. Fairies wear boots. You gotta believe me. Black Sabbath.
Yep. Not talking about them fairies.
No.
Alright.
The term fairy is used to loosely describe a type of legendary or mythical being of romance and folklore. These unsubstantial creatures are often of diminutive size. As spiritual entities, fairies are considered to be supernatural, preternatural, or even metaphysical beings in possession of unbounded magical powers. Unbounded power.
Yeah.
Unlimited power!
Well, they've got that little dust stuff they sprinkle on you and make you fly. That's pretty cool.
I think that's just Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Don't be shattering my dreams.
In European folklore and fairy tales are described as typically invisible or non-substantial spirits who live on Earth in proximity to or in association with mortal human beings. Fairies are presumed to possess knowledge of hidden natural powers, which therefore corresponds with their power of making time appear long or short to those mortals who are lured into their company.
I wonder if they can make anything else appear long or short.
Themselves.
I think Pete was thinking about his cock.
Yeah, I need it making it a bit smaller.
Time differences is actually a really interesting thing here because some ancient astronaut scholars believe now, some UFO people believe that fairies are very closely associated to the UFO phenomena and alien abduction, because fairies often go off with a fairy and you come back and everyone's aged horribly and you haven't. Missing time dilation, things like that.
Okay.
Some early accounts of fairy interactions involve missing time.
So saying the fairies could be ETs.
Oh, ETs could be mistaken for fairies, yeah. Could have been mistaken for fairies.
Well,
How would your 15th, 16th century mind cope with an alien? More likely to put it down to something supernatural, a spirit or something like that, aren't you?
Yep.
and who's to say aliens are anywhere near as big as us? They could just be that size. They could
Yeah.
have a tiny
We've
little
done
spaceship.
an episode on different types of alien many moons ago, and there were little fairy-sized aliens with wings. They stole some pork pies from a woman's house.
Scamps them.
They were known as the pork pie Martians in the press.
It was a fast one, wasn't it? The pies, wasn't it?
She was just off her tits on acid and
I
some
was
kids
gonna
broke
say,
in.
I was going to say, when was this? In like the 60s, 70s?
60s, 70s in the UK.
Yeah, she was off her tits on acid.
Or some kind of antidepressant drug they used to kick out on the NHS, like lithium or something like that.
Swamp gas.
She probably didn't even...
Oh, she was high on. Maybe she had carbon monoxide leak in her home. That's also a possibility.
Maybe she never even made the pies, and that was all a hallucination. That
Yeah.
was part of the hallucination.
Maybe
Oh,
she's an hallucination.
Maybe we're all hallucination. Who can say?
Who said that? Where am I? Who are you?
No, that's just Alzheimer's, Pete.
Oh.
A characteristic and distinctive feature is their whimsically and mischievous and prankish behaviour.
Like
Fairies
frat boys.
yeah. Fairies can be benevolent or malevolent, exerting good or bad influences over the lives of humans, and their magical attributes endow them with the ability to appear or disappear at will, or change shape into animal forms, apparently. I love in this article it's like giving quotations like Stace 1934 as if that makes it more credible. McCulloch 1912, Heartland 1891. You're like, yeah, some blokes wrote a book about fairies in 1891. You're quoting it as a source, as a piece of indisputable evidence.
Credible source.
Interesting. Fairy entities in their restricted sense are unique in the English folklore, though these non-human spirits are both Celtic and Germanic folk beliefs. It is quite a European thing, fairies, isn't it? I think, more than anything else. You've got other cultures that have a similar thing, but I think there's a very...
Americans have the fairies.
Yeah, but
don't
they're all Europeans anyway.
Yeah. Europeans at heart, aren't they, essentially?
They're all immigrants, Pete.
In the east they have the jinns.
Yeah, well, they're more spirits, demons,
They're more like your genies, aren't they?
and genies. Genies are considered a jinn, yeah. Yeah, I think there's a very strong belief in the West about it, or there certainly was, especially Ireland as well. Ireland's always seems to be a bit magical, isn't it? The Emerald Isle.
With all the leprechauns.
Leprechauns. There's a leprechaun's the most famous type of fairy as well, isn't it? Apart from your Tinkerbell types.
Leprechaun isn't a fairy.
Technically they come under fae, yeah.
Pixie maybe?
Yeah, they all come under that umbrella.
Yeah, there's an old Irish sort of folk tale of small, tiny beings that came from the clouds.
Now, if that's not aliens, I don't know what is.
Yeah. It was on Ancient Aliens, actually, I saw that.
Why doesn't that
I
surprise
forget
me?
the name of them because they're in Irish. The name's
Yeah.
in Irish. I can't remember it.
Shannon O'Callaghan.
Oh, you know that leprechaun?
Paddy the Greek. That was it.
Paddy the Greek?
I was just trying to think of the most Irish name I could think of. Shannon O'Callaghan.
The most Irish name you can think of is like Paddy McPaddy,
Paddy O'Paddy.
Paddy O'Paddy, or Paddy O'Guinness. Is that racist to say that?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Probably.
We have got Irish listeners, I do apologise. I love Ireland, it's great. Never been, but I'll get there one day. Please keep listening. Among European folk and fairy tales, the fairies of French and Celtic romances are often merged with the elves of Teutonic myth. Obviously Teutonic, we're talking Germany there. Similar stories of fairy-like creatures occur in other European traditions, including the Latin and the Slavic, as well as their historical origin distilled from Celtic, Welsh and Breton medieval French romances and tradition. In many regions, including China and India and Arabia with the jinns, so they know the jinns, there are found beliefs in the existence of supernatural, sometimes dwarfish or pygmy-like ethereal entities. Their diminutive size and appearance was cultivated in response to the tales of Victorian nursery tales read to children as a supernatural race existing in the fancy of the folklore North and West Europe. I do find it weird how pretty much everyone every culture has the same sort of belief in various mythical beings, like most werewolves and vampires for one, but you know, every culture's got a vampire and a werewolf myth.
Yeah.
Seems a lot of cultures have fairy myths.
Yeah, but these cultures don't just live in isolation, do they?
No, they don't, but there's still a lot of
Stories travel about,
cultural
right?
transference going to take place, hasn't there? At a time when we're led to believe that, you know, it took a long time to get somewhere on a horse, didn't it?
Some of them are sort of like, you know, like truths or half-truths though, because I've watched River Monsters and they're talking about, you know, the guy that does the fishing. And it's always like, no.
No.
I've seen it, yeah.
I mean, well, they're always talking about myths there, aren't they? Like, you know, tribes, people, depending on where he is, and you know, people in the village. It starts from somebody seeing something, doesn't it?
That's true.
And it's normally like a giant sturgeon or something. It's like something that is unusually big.
But do you think
it
that
becomes a three-headed dragon? Or
because these things are seen less nowadays? Do you think the possibility that people are eating a lot of ergot by accident in their bread, and it's just making them trip balls because you don't get that many sightings of fairies nowadays compared to what you used to? The same as any other sort of mythical being. Everyone was just tripping their tits off. They must have been.
Apart from Bigfoot.
Even to see Bigfoot, maybe. But think about it. Everyone must have been off their tits on ergot at some point in the Middle Ages or before.
What's ergot? Sorry.
It's this fungus that grows on the wheat used to make the bread. It's on the wheat's been left too long.
Of course, yes.
If you eat enough of it and you get ergot poisoning, you'll start hallucinating.
Yeah. There's a small island, isn't there?
There is. We did an episode on Ergot Island.
LSD Island it's called. And they were so isolated that all their food stores this one room, and it got infested with ergot, and everybody on the island was hallucinating, seeing witches and things, and
whoa,
totally fucked up.
It is crazy. I'm now of the belief that everything anybody saw that was slightly weird in the Middle Ages was a result of ergot poisoning or plague.
No, there's a good chance of that. Definitely.
Well, magic mushrooms. I mean, they ate mushrooms, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean,
they
I guess
foraged and things. Didn't they?
Yeah. So I mean, I think there's certainly a strong possibility, and it is a very simple explanation. You know what they say about simple explanations?
Generally
correct, aren't they?
Should we go to the different types of fairies?
Yeah, let's go through a few of them. I'll start with them brownies, not the little girls in yellow jumpers and brown sashes who meet up at youth clubs. In the UK, I don't know if they have brownies anywhere else. Not the female version of Cub Scouts.
Yeah, I used to be a brownie.
Yeah, my sister was, yeah.
Brownies are your typical household spirit. They originated in Scottish folklore, although they popped up in English and German folklore at times too. Originally, brownies were known as helpers for farmers. They tended to do outdoor tasks during the night, such as shoveling hay, feeding the sheep, etc.
It looks quite a lot like
Dobby
from
it does.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Dobby, for honestly, Dobby in Lord of the Rings now.
From Harry Potter.
Dobby take on Gollum.
Deathmatch.
Yeah.
He looks like an elf from Harry Potter, basically.
Yeah, they're 3 foot tall, pointed ears, brown complexions, brown working clothes. When they don't have a family, they tend to live underground because they don't have wings. Ah.
Oh, there you go. Just reference J.K. Rowling up there.
Yeah, so you got the inspiration for house elves and brownies.
Yeah,
there you go.
Although brownies are never slaves and can leave a family or property at any time. Because they're drawn towards the most deserving families. To them, this means the people who work the hardest and therefore need some extra help. When brownies stick with a family for a while, they're generally happy, they will bring good luck to the household. Kind of a magical magnet for good luck. If you do have a brony living with you, you should keep your house nice and tidy. They will help you with the chores, but they want you to clean the living area.
They're going to scrub the shit on the back of my toilet.
And don't forget to feed them, otherwise they'll get angry. They love milk, cookies and honey left out at night. They will make friends with your pets.
I might start leaving milk and cookies out just in case. It's only going to make friends with spiders though, because they're the only pets I've got at the minute, and they're not wanted pets.
No.
Okay, pixies. Pixies are about 4 inches tall and tend to live in the gardens and woods. They're the types of fae that has the most contact with humans, so they tend to show up a lot in pop culture such as fairy tales or Disney
I love
movies.
it. They're the ones that have most contact with humans, so they're the ones that are in your pop culture. It's like, no, they're the ones that are in pop culture because they're a stereotypical fairy.
They are, aren't they, with the big wings and...
Yeah, it's Tinkerbell, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is the kind of fairy that my mum used to believe in, and she was younger, because she used to believe there was one that used to make little leather shoes and things like that down the bottom of the garden, because she used to find little patches of leather and little cutouts and things.
Okay, weird. Well, someone was playing an elaborate prank on her to make her childhood go magical.
No, it was more than likely her older sister Wendy, but that was her as a young child. That's what she believed.
Well, it's like believing in Santa, innit?
Yeah.
You know, you leave your milk and cookies out, but you know Dad's eating them.
But as far as any evidence I've ever known of, that's about as close to it as I've got in my repertoire. But yeah, it was more than likely her older sister.
I think Wendy watched too much Peter Pan.
Wendy was in Peter Pan.
They can live in any wooded area or garden, and they do have wings, but they're known as earth or nature fairies. They're super tiny with human-like figures and delicate wings that move extremely fast, almost like a hummingbird.
Ooh.
Some pixies dress only in green, while others prefer other colours of nature like blue or yellow.
So basically Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
100% Tinkerbell.
They're especially known to steal stuff from your home or take items and hide them somewhere else so you can't find them.
That's why my fucking house keys keep going all the time.
I lost a shoe once and it lost me a job. And then about a week later, the shoe turned up and we all knew 100%, there was 3 of us living in the house, and it was neither of my mates taking the piss because I lost a job over it. They wouldn't have let it go that far. I had a suited booted job where I had to, and I couldn't go in trainers, and I lost my shoe, so I couldn't get to work, and it was an hour's trade. It was one of them, but yeah, in the end I couldn't get to work and ended up losing my job. But yeah, that was weird as fuck because it turned up under the chair, and we all know wholeheartedly we literally turned over all of the chairs and sofas and everything to try and find. All of us were looking for this.
Yeah, well, clearly.
But then it turned up a week later.
Clearly, the pixies thought, you know what, that job's no good for him.
No.
Well, that was what made me move here, because I was living in Barry in South Wales at the time, and it was because I'd lost that job. My mum and dad said, "Come and live up here with us then." Into Telford, so I moved from Wales to Telford, and that was why. So maybe there was,
pixies
maybe
made you
there
change
was
your life
something.
direction, Pete.
Maybe there was something there that wanted me to change my life direction.
Maybe.
You never know.
Pixies cost me my job. You should sell that story to the Sun. They'd buy it. Fairies cost me my job.
I know the Mirror and the Star would definitely take that one.
Oh yeah, then we a picture of you looking sad, with like a missing with your shoe. With just one shoe. Big fairies cost me my job. Oh.
With a little fairy shoe.
Yeah, the replacement was
They replaced it with this, the bastards.
The replacement was inadequate.
I just about got it on my little toe.
Says they do play pranks on humans.
But yeah, there you go.
It was a poltergeist.
Do you know what? Genuinely, that fucking place was haunted.
Who was
100%.
who was coming into puberty at the time?
Right. Definitely haunted that building I used to live in. It was an old Victorian fucking house above shops. Nothing else. No other residents lived in these houses because they were all above the shops and used for storage. The shop I lived above was a butcher's. They had no need to store cold meat up, you know what I mean? So it was the only one that was rented out as a living space, and I could fucking hear people like left and right of me, above me, and I knew at 10, 11 o'clock at night there's no fucking next door or the other side because it was Top Shop, so they weren't around at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And so, yeah, was it pixies though? There you go, that's just made me think it could have been pixies.
Could have been pixies.
I was always convinced it was a ghost, but no, I'm now convinced it was a pixie.
Pixie gangbangs going on.
Yeah, dodgy little pixies. A banshee.
Banshees, they're cool.
Good then.
No, I just said banshee,
Banshee
sorry.
only exists in Ireland and Scotland, typically on the moors, and has a cry of death.
That's why you never go on the moors.
So it only exists in Scotland
And Ireland.
and Ireland. Did not know that.
Mm.
So the banshee is a female spirit type fairy that predicts death. Her cry is typically an omen. She can appear a lot in different forms. According to a fairy lore, she is known to appear either as beautiful young woman or a stately matron or an old ugly hag.
Oh, I hope I get the beautiful young woman screaming at me. Won't be the first time.
Yeah, because banshees are known for their extremely loud wails, their screams, aren't
That's it, it's a portent of death.
So the banshee is often seen with the physical eye, but she is certainly heard. Her morning cries are usually extremely haunting. She runs comb through her long hair. That sort of like is a bit reminiscent of that Chinese, The Ring sort of.
Mm.
Oh, the chick on the ring.
Yeah. the film
That's
like.
every single Chinese ghost, basically, though, yeah.
Yeah, that is.
That's their
the-
ghost. That's what
Yeah.
they think of a ghost as that, like a girl with long fucking hair down her head and wearing a white. Right, that's all they ever think of.
It's true, they've got a few like that.
Mm.
There's one that hangs around a toilet. Specifically girls' toilets. Genuinely, it's a Japanese ghost, hangs around girls' toilets, looks exactly like that. She'll go, when you're in the toilet, she'll get you.
Oh, fuck it.
Wait until you're in your most fucking vulnerable state, basically, squeezing out a turd.
There's
Shit, what do I do? Do I suck it back up, chop it off, or squeeze really hard, or what? What do you do?
I think at that point you see that ghost coming through underneath the toilet door. You're probably gonna shit anyway. I think holding it back's gonna be academic at that point.
Anyway, it says so they usually have silver hair and use combs, and in some parts of Ireland, combs are thought to be bad luck simply because of the banshee.
Don't comb your hair because it's the banshee.
It's bad luck.
Some folks believe that there are many different banshees in Ireland. A group of banshees is very bad luck compared to a single fairy.
I'd say a group of banshees is really
I'd agree
massively
with
bad
that.
luck. I mean, all of a sudden they start wailing, the whole village is dead 2 days later.
I'd agree with that. A group of banshees, you don't really want to encounter them, do you?
Apparently, though, they don't harm people.
They just let you know you're going to die soon.
Yeah. Her cry does predict death.
Oh, it's the death of someone in the area, not necessarily your own, so that's a relief. Should you hear a banshee cry, you're like, well, might not be me. Might be Larry from next door.
Just hope it's not mum or dad.
Walk round the corner, there's a grizzly bear stood there. Oh, no, it's
Oh,
me.
look, it was me.
What if it was the bear? It could have been the bear.
It could have been.
Unless you're specifically hard, yeah. Or you manage to lure it into the road and a bus hits
I'll
it.
kick it in the nuts as hard as I can.
I don't think you're going to get chance.
chance.
You're not going to get chance. It's got the reach on you.
As long as
It's probably got retractable balls, being a bear as well.
if its head comes near me, it's getting thumbs in the eyes.
Yeah, if you can get away from the teeth.
I
love this. This
I'll quickly shave them down.
Pete's step-by-step guide to killing a bear, and it's like, yeah, actually wake up and realise you died at step 2.
No, like step half. You don't even get step 1.
See the bear, realise you died after step 1.
I file down the feet.
Oh, you've got time to file down the teeth now, you while you're
I'll
holding it in
file
one
down
hand,
the teeth.
holding it in a headlock.
Yeah,
Filing it, I'll get you, you bastard.
Damn right. Now bite me, you bitch. Yeah, before.
Wouldn't it be worse just put corks on its teeth? Just cork it.
Now
That's why I carry a pocket of corks with me at all times.
What I'd do, I'd carry around like just a bit of metal that yay big.
Like, so a knife.
No, just a metal pole. Metal pole, 8 inches
You can't be walking over the metal pole, Pete. You'll get arrested.
A little 8-inch long metal pole.
It's going to have to be pretty heavy to smack the bear.
No. So if the bear comes at me, I'll put my hand in its mouth like that, holding the pole. So as it bites down, it bites down on the pole.
Right, well, I'll tell you what.
So then that bit's useless. At that point, I will then jab it in the eyes with a
Realise you lost a hand in step one.
with my penknife. My trusty
So you
penknife.
are carrying a knife around.
My trusty penknife, which I'm allowed because I'm in the forest. And I'm foraging for nuts. Right, that's why I've got my penknife. I'm allowed to forage for nuts.
Are you going to fucking castrate the bear as well?
No, not yet. Anyway, so whilst
You're gonna wear them around your neck as a gruesome trophy when you come back into town.
so whilst it's gripping my hand, thinking it is, but not being able to bite down because this 8-inch pole that's stopping it from
I think
biting,
it's not going to thrash about.
gouged his eyes out.
Do you think it's not doing anything while you're doing this? Because it's just eviscerated you with its claws at this point.
No, see, this is where I've
This is
got
where
it.
you thought I had a more
He's got a nail, he's got a nail file.
No, I thought ahead. I thought
Just make him sharper!
No, I thought ahead. What I did was, as I had, you know when you hold like a small person by the head,
Right.
and they swing at you and they can't quite.
Yeah, the bear's
hit
got
you.
longer arms than you have.
It's all right though because if you think it's biting, if
You're within its
biting
reach
me-
anyway, you're like that in its mouth!
No, I'm
It
not.
can just crush you!
Nah, you can't because
It can bear hug you, it's got the reach!
I'm more nimble than a bear.
It's nice, you're
I know I'm dead.
Just
Right.
wear the bear-proof suit and I've done with it.
I know I'm dead, but I'm just trying. All right.
Why don't you just use the metal pole as a bit rather than trying to stick your hand in its mouth and as a lever? Use it as a bit, ram it into its mouth sideways.
I think either way it's going to fuck you.
Either way, it's going to eat your face.
Yeah, I think this plan's flawed.
Yeah, there's lots of flaws in that plan.
Anyway, you hear a banshee, look out for bears.
Yeah, yeah.
Could you beat up a leprechaun?
Oh yeah, I'd like to beat up a leprechaun
I'd
actually.
take on a leprechaun,
Actually,
especially if it was like the one from the film, the leprechaun.
No, I think we're
They're
underestimating
small
something.
Aren't there small people leprechauns?
Why are we not allowed to beat up small people now?
Really?
Yeah, they're about
Fuck,
2
when
foot
did that
tall,
happen?
aren't
I've been beating up small people all my life. What the fuck? We're not allowed to.
We were
Joking, I haven't.
That's when Pete started loaded midget conventions.
Shh. I'm not even allowed to talk about them. Shh.
he's standing on a mushroom. He's pretty small, isn't he?
A tiny little leprechaun.
I think we're underestimating something here. Right? None of us are beating up a leprechaun for two simple reasons. Well, 3 reasons.
One, they don't exist.
One, they don't exist. 2, they're short. Short people are always angry.
And they're magical.
They're red-headed.
Well, ginger, yeah.
So they're fiery.
Yeah.
And nothing's angrier than a short Irish ginger man.
Who's not had a drink for a while.
Yeah. So none of us are beating up a leprechaun.
No.
You're thinking the Simpsons leprechaun, aren't you?
I'm actually thinking of this show I was watching called Farzar, where the Tsar is called Squiggles. He's a little red-headed midget, and it's his personal like attack card. And he like, you have to watch the show. It's great. Squiggles ain't nothing to fuck with. Is the thing.
So the next in line is the leprechaun, obviously. And the leprechaun appears as super small. Aged men.
Aged.
Aged. How do you know the difference though? Because
It makes sense,
it's,
doesn't it?
I know, but when you look at the word, it is the same,
It's
isn't
the
it?
same, yeah.
The English language is bollocks.
I
isn't
know,
it?
yeah.
Anyway,
What a
aged
way to
men.
describe them was.
It is though.
Yeah.
Aged men dressed in green or red. They often wear pointed cap and love to smoke pipes, don't we all?
Yeah.
They're mainly found in Ireland. Even though most types of fae don't have set jobs like humans do, leprechauns are the exception. They are the first and foremost cobblers, but can also act as bankers of the fairy world.
Oh, that explains the pot of gold, doesn't it?
You will hear.
Holding all the money.
Well, you will hear.
This is the breakdown of the fairy economy. The leprechauns are hoarding all the money.
Yeah.
Well, you'll hear the leprechauns coming by the tapping of their hammer. They always have a shoe and hammer to hand. Legend says leprechaun are constantly crafting shoes because other types of fairies wear out their shoes nightly during revels and dancing.
I think the fairy dancing is a con by the leprechaun ruling elite, global elite, bit on Alex Jones here.
No.
You've got to dance, otherwise the world will end, and all the time it's like, keep bringing this shoe, gotta make the shoes. You gotta buy new shoes off us every day.
No, it's
Big
Leprechaun scanning them, making them out of blooming
sugar material. Yeah.
Making them out of like sugar paper, so like within a day, clearly.
Scabby old leaves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretending it's leather.
You've got to dance or the world will end, and then buy our shoes.
So leprechauns also love music and dance themselves. They especially enjoy the fiddle, the Irish drum, and the harp. This is sounding so stereotypical, it's unbelievable.
This is where the stereotypes come from, though,
I almost feel racist towards leprechauns right now, talking about them like this, because it's like, God, I'm going to offend them, man. These leprechauns, if they're listening, they're going to be like, what the fuck? Who are you talking about? I don't listen to fiddle music.
Yeah, now you're being racist.
I like heavy metal, Thrash Slayer.
The thing is, who doesn't like a bit of Irish music? I like a bit of the old...
It's always very cheery music,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I like a bit of the Irish folk music. I wouldn't go out there and buy it, but if there's a Cady band on, I'll definitely have a listen.
I've seen you doing the river dance a few
Yeah.
times, to be fair.
You get me drunk, mate, I'll river dance with the best of them.
But yeah, some leprechauns are distrustful though, and secretive around humans. If you act kindly towards them without expecting anything in return, they might bestow some of their gold upon you.
Not like our bankers then.
Most leprechauns avoid humans. It's said that if a human can capture a leprechaun, then the fairy must reveal the hiding place of its gold. However, almost every human who has tried this has been tricked by the leprechaun and ends up with less than he started with.
What, like a head?
So leprechauns love...
Head from the leprechaun.
No, I didn't. Oh, you tried to catch me and the leprechaun just beheads you.
So they love gold, they love ale, they're known to be information brokers and always have a bit of information to sell you, probably at a hefty price. They're typically honest, although a few of them can be tricksters.
So can you trust a leprechaun or not? That's what I want to know.
Well, it sounds like you can.
Where are all the female leprechauns?
They obviously don't exist.
In the kitchen where they belong.
Oh, slap him, Clair.
Like, we've just lost like half of our viewers. Now we've only got two listeners, not viewers. Now we've only got two listeners.
As show host, I will apologise on behalf of Mike for his misogyny.
Had to be said. I stand by it. Joke.
Women can do other things, though. You know, they don't just.
But they're all
They're not
always
just
depicted
kitchen.
as men, aren't they? The bloody leprechauns.
It's true, I've never seen a female
You
leprechaun.
can see
No.
female elves, female pixies. Like, you never see a male fairy either very often.
Maybe it's like
You know.
female dwarves and they look alike.
Maybe they're androgynous.
Maybe they're all male and they're like on the Orville where the males are with males.
Yeah, and they have to lay an egg.
Yeah.
That's a good show.
Yeah.
I like Boris. He's a
Yeah.
good character. Well, the thing is, though, we're overlooking something. They can have all the orgies they want.
There are female leprechauns.
It doesn't matter because they're magic. They're probably immortal.
Oh, yeah. According to the book, A History of
The book?
Irish Fairies, there is no record in Irish folklore of leprechauns having a female counterpart. And their ranks are even a solid record of how they procreate or reproduce.
Maybe they don't. They're just immortal because they're all old, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I hate to break it to you guys, I don't think they exist.
Well,
That's probably why they don't exist.
But that was how I was going to beat the cost of living crisis. I was going to capture a leprechaun.
Well, maybe there was a few leprechauns. Maybe they died out because all the women of them died out. They lasted a few generations through magic and the fact that they lived a long time, and then they all died, and that's it. They're no more.
Well, you know what? It's as likely as anything, but it's probably true that they didn't exist in the first place.
No.
What?
What about elves? Everyone likes an elf, doesn't they?
Oh yeah.
I do if it's not Orlando Bloom, because he can't act.
I like What's Her Tits, Liv Tyler. She
Yeah,
made a great elf.
You did make a great elf.
And What's Her Face from Lost.
I had no idea.
She in the newer Hobbit films.
Oh, right.
She's the fit. Fair.
Evangeline Lilly.
That's it. Yeah, them two are hot elves, man.
I noticed you're not commenting on Hugo Weaving as an elf.
Well, I don't think he's hot, no.
He's a bit of a weird... In all fairness, he is probably the ugliest elf. It's a good job he's the king.
It's the look he gives the hobbits when they like run in and they're in the circle at the very beginning of the Fellowship of the Rings, kind of where they're all joined together and the hobbits all run out like they've all been listed, and he looks at them. It's like, fuck me, like any one of them should have just died. It was like the work. He made a brilliant character for that look alone. That one look he gave.
Give him the Oscar.
That one look he gave though was just. It was like,
in all fairness,
hateful, angry look I think I've ever seen anybody portray.
In all fairness, if we were to sit here and watch Lord of the Rings, you'd see me pull that look whenever the Hobbits come back on screen, because they're my least favourite part of those films.
Yeah, the Hobbit.
What?
Yeah, I hate the
Little
Hobbits.
Frodo.
Ah, the Frodo's a pain in the ass, he's a whiny little fucker.
I think he's a bit whiny. I think,
And his closet homosexual love interest with Sam.
They should have just given Sam the fucking ring. He'd have been there in 2 days and completely unaffected. He was just like, he was just, oh fuck it, let's go then.
Well, you don't know what the effect the ring would have had on him.
I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you! But he was still carrying the ring, because he's carrying Frodo, who's wearing the ring. Boom.
The problem was though, by wearing the ring around you, it started to change you.
Well, either way,
I
elves.
couldn't wear the ring.
Yeah, elves are cool.
According to mythology, there are both light elves and dark elves in the fairy kingdom. And in general, legends about elves tend to be from European Germanic sources as well as Nordic and Icelandic. Elves are often depicted with blonde hair and blue eyes. Well, I could be an elf.
No, you couldn't.
Could be.
You got brown hair.
Oh, I used to have blonde hair.
Bit of a ginger beard.
It's blonde. It's very blonde.
All ginger people say that about
No, it's blonde.
beards.
Blue eyes, blonde hair. Just get with it. And of all the types of fairies, elves are closest to humans in height, size and stature. They're a bit slimmer but a similar height, so maybe I'm not an elf. Look at that fat elf here, people. Elves have high cheekbones and angular features compared to humans. They're also said to have mesmerising eyes and pointed ears. Nowadays, folks in many cultures still believe that elves exist, and in fact many of the caves in Iceland are protected by the government because 3/4 of the residents believe that elves reside in the area. That is true. There are little brownie houses built out in the Iceland in the fields, little tiny wooden homes for brownies and fairies. The Icelandic myths have had this massive resurgence in belief in recent years, probably because they're pretty much an atheist nation.
They go and check.
So they don't do organised religion, they prefer to believe in their own kind of little folklore.
They go and check these little houses to see if they've been lived in.
Oh, well, the brownies are tied you up after themselves, haven't they?
Will they?
Yeah.
You'd
That's what they
never
do,
know
they're
that.
little workers, aren't they?
So what they just come
But
and...
they are 3 foot tall, so.
No, some brownies are tiny, they literally build, these houses are no more than like a foot high.
Never.
All nicely painted in different colours, like a little street of them around a field or something.
Saying that, there was that fairy garden walk down by your house, wasn't there, Pete?
Yeah, it's nice. Well, there
People
was
put up
until
little
no, the
houses
council
and-
fucking made them take it all down.
Oh.
BVT or whatever the trust is that owns
So this is too...
the Lawley.
This is too pretty.
Well, I know it's disgusting. They basically, the people that own the area I lived in, people had put up loads of little fairy doors, little fairy houses, little things like that,
Yeah.
along this nature trail. It was just like a trail along a little
Yes, health and
street.
safety stopped them.
No, it was just they were just like, no, it's like vandalism.
But where are the fairies going to live?
But there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with it. It didn't look unsightly. It looked really nice.
You know you counter this. So you just go, well, where are the fairies going to live? To the council, like, you know, prove they don't exist and prove they don't need somewhere to live. Why aren't you home in the fairies?
Yeah, they're not paying council tax, so.
Oh yeah, the second you get them in an house, you got to pay council tax.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, still not to benefit the council, won't it?
But no, it was pathetic though. Like,
Yeah, that's
it was really pathetic. A note come up on the Lawley website saying they've said,
they've
they've removed them all, and we walked down there a couple of days later, And yeah, they'd all been removed. And there was the odd one or two that hadn't, that were a little bit higher up or something that they couldn't quite get with whatever they had. But yeah, I thought, what the... That pointless.
People are paying nowadays.
And it was purely for the kids, man. The kids loved it.
I would have got him with a flamethrower and torched him.
In front of the kids. Say goodbye to Tinkerbell, kids. Flame the trees.
Yeah. I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're calling it an airstrike. Kids, go to the field. There's a fucking Tiger Jet screams in and napalms the woods.
You get a bunch of toy Tinkerbells or something and just like lob them in before, like just little bits of wing here and there, like die, fairies, die.
Pause it.
No amount of clapping's going to help you now.
While elves are sometimes friendly towards humans, they can also take revenge if they feel offended. They generally stay away from humans, especially when compared to other types of fae. Legend says that elves are the types of fairies that are the protectors and caretakers of the forest, and they are usually tied to the specific forest that they protect and live in groups. They're very smart and agile, and they have keener perceptions than humans, but use their senses in nature and avoid technology.
Maybe they're the Sasquatches.
Well, I doubt it, because they're all tall and fair.
Yeah, but maybe that whole Chinese...
Sasquatches look very different.
Maybe it's people just seeing... I don't know. Maybe
I'm
they...
not
You know what it is, Pete?
Something else.
It's elf magic.
That's what I was thinking. Do they project themselves as
Sasquatches
something
are
else?
elf magic. They're just... There you go. We
Maybe
fixed
they're
it. That's
here.
why all the pictures are blurry. Yeah.
Maybe they're hermit elves that have let themselves go.
What? And hit the gym.
Oh shit.
So yeah, elves basically. Elves can be dicks, but we all know that. Isn't it interesting in every pop culture?
Well, actually, dark elves, isn't it?
No, every elf's a dick. They can all be dicks. Dark elves are just like more sadistic dicks.
I don't ever see elves as dicks.
The king elf in Lord of the Rings is a bit of a dick. Yeah?
Is
Yeah,
it?
he's a bit of a dick, isn't he?
No.
They're arrogant, aren't they? Elves are arrogant. They believe themselves to be superior to us monkeys.
Well, yeah.
Well, they are, though, aren't they?
They're immortal, and you know what I mean. They
They're very immortal or very long-lived.
I just think
Depends
that's
on
the
which
way
story
they've
that
been
is.
Portrayed. No, I do. I think they've been portrayed wrong.
Either
I
way,
think
they live
they're one with
thousands of years.
nature.
Yeah.
You think the more traditional version rather than the fantasy version.
Yeah.
Because even in Warhammer 40,000, the Eldar, who are basically space elves, are like arrogant, stuck-up knobs.
Yeah.
They will do a deal with us if they have to, but they look down on us.
No, I see an elf as more of a bit of a militant vegan type.
Living in a yurt in the woods.
A militant vegan.
Yeah.
Hugging the trees and shit.
Yeah, proper elf.
Well, alright.
Kobolds then.
Kobolds, they're types of
Can we
fae.
do this?
Yeah, go on then if you want. You have just done elf, sorry. Carry on.
So what about kobolds then? Kobolds are types of fae who live in mines. There haven't been many sightings of kobolds, so it's hard to say exactly what they look like. Generally, kobolds only interact with miners. Some kobolds are troublemakers and will undo the miners' progress, but others will actually help or knock on the tunnels to warn the miners of a cave-in.
When they undo their progress, that's called a cave-in.
Yeah.
And when they see them, that's called carbon monoxide poisoning setting in.
Gas, breathing gas, natural gas.
Yeah. Basically, Tweety Pie has already died, and they've not realised this.
They're all spasming on the floor at that point, hallucinating, aren't they?
They're all tripping balls now because of lack of oxygen and shit.
They're just on the floor, all twitching.
the elves!
No one noticed the canary had died in this scenario.
It's a kobold!
Changelings, they are a rather scary part of the fairy legend. While they aren't exactly a type of fae, changelings are in a league of their own. According to legend, changeling is a fairy child that has been swapped for a human child.
Isn't that what they do in that film with David Bowie in it?
Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Kind of, yeah.
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 And in the latest Hellboy
Or do they
movie.
just steal the child?
They just
No, he just stole the
him,
child.
really.
Yeah.
For some reason. David Bowie's evil pedo character that no one seems to mention.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, that film, isn't it?
Dance, baby, dance.
You know what? I haven't watched that film since I was a child for the simple reasons I'll watch it now and think, oh my god, this is terrible. It'll ruin it for me.
I watched it not so long back because
You've got kids, so yeah. How'd you cope with that?
No,
when you
it's
watch
alright. I enjoyed it.
I'm watching a beloved child. I did it with the fucking Extreme Ghostbusters and Bucky O'Hare. I rewatched them, and they were terrible.
I rewatched The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under, and they were still really good. I enjoyed them thoroughly. Probably more than the kids.
So kids' films nowadays have got like adult jokes in them, haven't they? Like Shrek was aimed at both.
Yes.
You kids who get jokes, adults who get jokes. Like The Simpsons.
Nowadays, that
works
was
on 2 levels.
That was 20 years ago. That was Shrek.
Yeah, I know, but it's like The Simpsons pioneered that kind of humour. It's a cartoon adults can watch.
Yes. Made it so when the kids are watching it, the adults can actually take some enjoyment out of it as well, without the kids knowing what that joke was.
Yeah.
Because the kids wouldn't understand.
Go back to the 80s, right?
Yeah.
When we were growing up, Labyrinth, I think, is like 86 or something, off the top of my head.
Yeah, about that.
In the late 80s, the cartoons then, they were just aimed at kids, weren't they? That was it.
Yeah.
And you watch them now and you're like, my god, this is the same story every week. They've just changed the baddie.
They always had a moral as well.
Yes, that's true. There's always a moral.
There's always a little story at the end like, now kids, remember, don't cross the road whilst having a bag on your face.
The main character will go, and now you know why you should look both ways.
I know.
And now you know why you should look both ways. And everyone laughs, and that's the end of the show.
Like He-Man, that does, the end of
Yeah.
Right, back to this. The changeling will grow up with a human parent but won't appear like a normal human child. Fairies swap their babies for few reasons. Each culture has its own legend. Sometimes a fairy will swap a sick fae child with a healthy human child. It's terrible. The fae child will either die in infancy or grow up to be sickly.
Oh my god.
You will notice that they're beautiful and... artistic with fairy. I was going to say autistic.
Probably for autistic too, in all fairness.
With fairy features, even though they may be unhealthy. Other fairies swap babies because they want a beautiful human child and feel that their own baby is ugly. Or to strengthen their bloodlines. If there is a sickness, sometimes a fairy will need a talent that only a human child possesses.
Like what?
Wanting to eat every 5 minutes.
Well, it doesn't go on to say, really. Of course, changelings are rare, if they really exist anymore.
Whatever did in the first place.
The development of technology has made the practice of swapping babies dangerous for fairies.
I'm finding it very hard to take this one seriously.
I just like the idea that the fairy's like, oh god, that baby's ugly. I'm gonna swap for a human one. He just fucking dumps it with a fucking new family and takes it.
Got this sickly baby.
Isn't anyone noticed that the baby's all of a sudden got fucking wings?
Well, it's a changeling. It
Or pointy ears,
doesn't
or...
have the wings, I don't think.
Well, it says they won't look like their parents and probably have some magical skills, but they will also have trouble fitting in socially.
Oh, so the autism thing will come in then.
Yeah.
I like how they've done the magic with a K though. So that means it's proper magic.
So a Devas?
Divas, I guess.
I wasn't sure. So it's either a Divas or a Devas. Devas. Either way. A small fairy that looks almost like fireflies.
So you mean that they are fireflies then?
Yeah. If you live in a woodsy area, you've probably seen Devas without even knowing it.
Because there's fireflies about.
Yeah.
The Deva originated in Persia and Greece. They appear as bright orbs of light in nature, although they are particularly found in woods. Devas love being around well cared for plants. They are known to guide magical researchers.
Medical.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I am sorry, guys.
Sorry.
They are known to guide medical researchers or witches seeking to use plants for their medical qualities. However, a diva won't say near a plant that is in decay.
Won't stay.
It won't stay near a plant in decay.
Well, that makes sense. It's no good to them, is it?
Yeah, you don't want to go for a dying plant, do you?
It's like, hey, you want to know where the best plant is? These little weed dealers in the forest, don't they?
Yeah.
You want to know where the weed is? Follow me. Dryads. Who doesn't love a dryad?
I don't even know what a dryad is.
It sounds like a triad to me. I can't
They're
really
like
remember
small
what a
ants,
triad
I
is
think.
anymore.
Yeah.
Triads are the Chinese mafia.
That's right. That's right.
Dryads, not to be confused with the Chinese mafia. Types of fairies that are tied to trees. While they aren't the actual spirit of the tree and are a type of fae, if the tree dies, the dryad will die too. So imagine how many dryads we've been killing.
God damn it.
They don't typically travel far from their trees, and they're very attached to one specific area and will do everything in their power to keep their tree alive. These types of fae will look more favourably on humans if they care for their trees. They can be a bit shy, but when they see a human taking care of the environment and treating animals and nature well, they're more likely to open up and communicate.
You're so going to meet one of these one day, then.
Do you think?
Yeah, man. Claire's the garden ninja. She goes around random people's gardens caring for their plants and their little trees and shit. Honestly, her street looks spotless now, all because of Claire. She just literally goes around, she does it to mine.
Well, you'll be able to tell that you have a dryad in your yard if any of your trees have a face look about them. Alternatively, we'll feel an active, different energy around the tree, and this indicates that the tree spirit also has a dryad attached. If you want to have a chat with them in your backyard, first show them your spirit through taking care of your trees, and after a bit they'll begin to trust you. It's easy to communicate with them if you're actually touching the tree and standing on the ground with bare feet, since they communicate through the earth.
Quite like the sound of this, actually. It's kind of quite sweet, isn't it?
Dryads are some of the sweetest types of fae, and if you're just dipping your toes into communication with fairies, I would recommend starting with the dryads. Go hug a tree barefoot,
I might.
especially if it's got a face.
I might. I'm going to look for a tree with a face.
Yeah, you know, like some trees, like they do look, as the bark goes a certain way, and it looks like you can, because your brain's trained to pick out faces anyways, pareidolia. So yeah, you might see like a bit of it. Oh, that looks a bit like a face, and you know, that's obviously got a dryad to it. And you know, when I go around the woods tomorrow with the hound, I want to look for trees that look their faces on.
And then give them a hug.
I'll remember where they are, and I'll go back and take my shoes off, give it a hug.
That's the placebo effect. What would be in it?
It's like I didn't let the dog piss up you. Have a chat to me.
I'd like to think if there was any such thing as a fairy, yeah, and that was a real, I'd like to think they were one. The dryads were one that was like. I've always thought trees could have souls.
Yeah, well, they're living creatures, they're old things.
And that's not just because of the ents from...
They'd be more interesting if they were ents, though.
Well, pineapple... no.
Banana
trees, they walk like ants.
You know, we've had that fact about 5-6 times, haven't we?
You've been living on that fat for a while.
I want triffids, where's triffids?
Yeah. But no, I'd like to think that one, if any of them were real, that one's a nice one.
What about gnomes?
I love a gnome.
Fishing.
The myth of the gnomes originated in Scotland, but they're thought to inhabit any woodsy area, including many parts of the US. Gnomes look almost like little dwarfs. They mature quickly, so they typically appear old. They wear pointed red hats with green or blue clothing. You'll find gnomes in most natural woodsy areas. Their diet depends on exactly where they're living. Gnomes are known to enjoy fruit, nuts, vegetables, especially root vegetables, eggs and mushrooms. Gnomes are extremely connected to nature. In fact, they're actually earth elementals, so they're very powerful with anything related to the earth. If you want to work earth magic and manage to befriend a gnome, then they can help you to grow super powerful.
Wow. I want a gnome mate who's going to help me do earth magic.
They're known to care for animals and are natural healers, although they tend to use their powers for animals and plant life, not humans.
Oh, that's a bit selfish.
Gnomes are very shy and cautious. They stay far away from humans, especially due to their small size.
Right, we need to go find a gnome.
I'm guessing the guy who wrote that article about gnomes was a fan of Noddy.
Yeah. I've read stuff where gnomes can actually be quite vicious and are like proper little pranksters.
I've seen a few YouTube videos of apparent gnomes. Yeah, some of them very well made. Like, you do think, like, is that real?
It could be real.
And if it is real, then fuck me. But can't believe anything I see on YouTube and things like that. I just can't believe it.
Unless it's a Sasquatch.
Yeah, but even then I don't believe it. I don't believe them unless I saw it for myself, and unless it was like really convincing footage, which, let's face it, doesn't seem it's ever going to fucking happen.
Well, no, because it's elf magic.
Well, yeah.
Irish sea water guardians. They're only a few inches tall, but they fiercely guard the Irish Sea. These type of fairies are sacred to the Irish sea gods Man.
Manan.
Manan.
It's a Celtic god of the sea.
Right, okay. They're surrounded by a greenish blue light. You won't often see them with the naked eye, but you may see them from the light that they give off. These types of fae especially love storms. They surf the waves and bob up and down. They're friends with the dolphins and other intelligent sea creatures.
Ah.
That's nice. If any sea creatures need their help, the Irish Water Sea Guardians will always come to their aid.
Sounds a bit like a Marvel comic to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Guardians
a
of the Sea.
Disney film to me.
Yeah.
Could be.
So the Kelpie is an ugly, scary water fairy that are thought to be cannibalistic and carnivorous. According to Scottish and Irish legend, Kelpies eat deer off the shoreline, as well as other types of fairies and even humans. Male Kelpies are thought to be shapeshifters. They can turn into handsome men and lure young women into the water and either trap them or consume them. Nice. Typically, the Kelpie is seen in the form of a horse if they don't reveal their true form.
Basically, you'll be there along this coast or at the edge of a lake. You'll see this fucking fantastic looking horse. The horse will come up to you, try and get you on his back. Or then ride into the sea, drown you and consume you. They're my favourites. Goddamn sexy water horses.
Some Kelpies even thought to be a classic scary monster that have created huge legends such as the Loch Ness Monster.
You know, Love, Death and Robots, like you said,
Yeah.
when you're the final episode of the last season where that woman's dancing in the water trying to lure the guy in.
Yeah, I thought it was a banshee.
No, it's she's more of a Kelpie.
Oh.
Banshee's only
yeah.
pronounced death.
Maybe she's a mixture of the
No,
two.
it's a lake and she appears as this dancing woman in the water covered in gold. And every time she screams, the knight's drawn into the water, but this one's deaf.
What's the other name?
He doesn't hear it. It's actually it's a weird dance episode.
Sirens.
Sirens. They lure sailors to their deaths.
Yeah, but it sounds like a siren, that does.
Give that show a watch, it's brilliant.
What's it called?
Love, Death and Robots. There's 3 seasons of it, but they're only about 20-minute long episodes. Some are even shorter than that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
First season of that is a work of art.
I like the 3rd season.
3rd season was very good as well. Merfolk. Mermaids. They're huge in pop culture, so most people don't believe in them. However, in the witch or magical community, mermaids are definitely real. Definitely. Most of these types of fairies prefer to be known as mer or merfolk, although they're called mermaids and mermen in pop culture. They're very beautiful and are half human, half fish creatures who live in the oceans and seas. There are stories about merfolk that paint them in both a positive and a negative light. Some tales state that the merfolk lured ships to the rocks and sailors to their deaths, while others say that the merfolk rescue drowning men. These types of fairies obviously don't live in homes, they swim through the ocean and frequently migrate. They tend to live in family units, although these can grow quite large, and they protect everyone in the group. Although they generally hide from humans, they have become more visible as the ocean gets polluted, and they will sometimes reach out to humans to try to stop further pollution.
Good luck.
So there's shitloads of them hanging around the UK at the minute, because it's just the rivers are full of shit. Raw sewage being pumped into the sea.
Disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I bet there's quite a few of them trotting around the English Channel at the minute, waving their hands at passers-by.
Yeah, I saw that on the news this week. About loads.
Foiling it.
Yeah, being
It's
put into the
result of
sea.
Brexit, isn't it? They don't have to follow the EU environmental laws anymore. Scrap that law.
It was actually that Liz Truss, wasn't it, who's going to be our next Prime Minister?
You think?
Possibly.
Yeah, she said to them basically, yeah, don't worry, just do what you want.
Yeah. You know, just aside for a moment, and I don't mean this to be more than a very quick aside, our next leader is either a fucking greedy, nasty cunt or a very dim woman. I don't mean woman in a derogatory sense, just, you know, she's very dim.
They all don't have a clue, mate.
And yeah, but she seems really, really dim. And I'm not convinced either of them are going to do us any good.
Of course not, they're fucking tourists.
Viva la revolution!
Okay, nymphs. Nymphs are a type of fae from Greece. There are many different types of nymphs, including tree nymphs, water nymphs, and wood nymphs. In some legends, they have the reputation of being hypersexual.
Oh yeah!
They are generally known as beautiful females, but unlike sirens, they are relatively harmless. Nymphs can be a bit mischievous, like all types of fairies, but they don't hurt humans. Sometimes they even fall in love with humans and be quite committed.
Can they?
So in other words, bring on the fucking nymphs then.
Yeah. That's my favourite so far.
I'm not got nothing against the nymphs, I just really like the fact that kelp is just gonna... Kelpies are basically just evil nymphs. In a way. They're the gangbangs. More cannibalism.
No.
Salamanders.
I've never heard of this one.
Neither have I. Salamanders aren't well-known type of fae, but they are powerful. Generally, salamanders are known as a fire elemental and can be really helpful if you're a witch working with fire. They appear as fiery lizards in red and orange tones, although they are also known to show up as classic fire fairy or even a ball of fire or light.
Ball lightning.
Oh man, this ball lightning just appeared when I was performing my fire magic. I like the fact that you can have, if you're a witch doing fire magic, you can get a little fucking red lizard helper who glows. I think that's fucking ace.
That's cool.
And when I start doing fire magic,
All these fairies are really reminiscent of Zelda, aren't they?
well, that's, Zelda got it from that, didn't they?
They ripped it.
They ripped it off, yeah.
Salamanders are some of the strongest elementals. They embody the spirit of fire. They come to the aid of humans or witches in their areas of passion and revenge, as well as physical manifestation of fire. Like all types of fairies, salamanders can be mischievous, so make sure you know what you're doing before you ask them to work together. They can get quite upset if they feel they have been slighted and wreak havoc.
In other words, they'll burn your fucking house down, won't they?
Yeah.
While you're doing the fire magic, they'll burn that down.
The Sealy Court. The Sealy Court is one of the most well-known aspects of fairy lore. Is it?
Yes, this is like the ruling body of fairies, in a way. Well, it's who everyone goes to if they want something sorted.
So they're thought to be benevolent fairies who act as an arbiter, judges of fairy disputes.
This is where you get the fairy mounds in the summer. That's where they sit.
So the Sealy Court is typically seen as at twilight. They conduct their courtly processions. They're especially active during the spring and summer months.
I want to see a little fairy
Courtroom.
Yeah, and
Little judge with little fucking headpiece on.
yeah,
And a
wig.
little hammer.
yeah, and just to the left of it where they hang them.
There's a couple hanging already.
I want to see a fairy execution.
What does that say about you?
They got wings, so they'll be able to lift themselves
Clip
up.
their wings.
They cut their wings off, wouldn't they?
So most of the members...
They'd be defaired.
Most of the members of Sealy Court enjoy beautiful things.
Ah,
Not hangings of each other.
fucking hell, Mike, got corrupted, didn't you?
They're all about stunning dresses and clothing, harmonious instruments, delicate flowers, and of course dances. The Sealy Court is made up of the most beautiful types of fairies. The Sealy Court fairies are known to wreak havoc on each other by chopping their heads off. I'm joking. Sealy Court.
Confuse the fuck out of me then. Hang on, he skipped ahead.
So the Sealy Court types of fairies are known to be somewhat friendly to humans. They are said to seek help from humans if needed and return human favours with kindness. However, like any other type of fairy, the Sealy Court is mischievous fairies too. They can easily play tricks on you and get revenge if they feel slighted. The Sealy Court is well known as good, counterpart of the Unsealy Court.
Ooh.
Some legends say that they fight each other, whilst others say that they're simply polar opposites
Alright, yeah, okay.
Some legends,
I'll allow it.
some legends say they fight each other, whilst others say that they are simply polar opposites and avoid each other.
So the unseelie court are the ones hanging people.
That's some of the gallows.
They're the ones you want to go and see.
They've always, you come into the little fairy comes into the unseelie court and they're just all wearing the black caps already. You're like, oh man. Hang him. What about a trial now? You want the Sealy court, mate. You get the wrong one.
Only stole a pork pie.
From a woman's house in Birmingham. It wasn't.
50 years ago as well, man. Come on.
There's a backlog. Cases.
There's only so many unsealie courts, you know. So those are some of the types of the majority of the types of fairies you may or may not encounter.
I hadn't heard of half of them.
I find it quite interesting, actually. I quite like the Fae mythology. I think it's fun.
We'll carry on next week.
We'll carry on next week. We decided halfway through this episode that it was going to have to be a two-parter because we've been going an hour and 10 now. So we'll carry on next week and we'll get into the Cottingley fairies and various pieces of evidence and what maybe there.
Evidence?
Maybe.
And there's
not a lot that's convincing, but maybe.
Still a few more fairies to go through as well.
Still a few more fairies to go through, some of the lesser known types. So we'll end it there. We'll do some fucked up facts. Mike?
Yeah, team tune please.
Facts, fucked up facts.
Facts.
Polar explorers burn 8,000 calories a day.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And therefore often supplement their diets with multiple large slabs of frozen butter.
Fucking hell, I couldn't eat butter. Yeah.
I think, wouldn't that give you the shits?
Probably.
You must be there, you'd be bunged up on a Mojam, wouldn't you?
You wouldn't want to be getting your arse out, would you?
Well, the thing is, I know that for a fact that in the Arctic you have to be armed. There's got to be a gun in the party. And as I say, us like, there's got to be probably 2 guns between us. And so we'd have to have 2 of us shit at the same time, or 2 stood guard for polar bears.
Wow.
That is an Arctic survival thing. If you're on your own, and you've got a shit, you could be in big trouble because you're most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And they sneak up on you.
They can do.
Yeah,
They
can
walk
smell it,
up. They walk up and they hold their hand over their nose.
The polar bears are like John Cena. You can't see them.
And then they move their hand and you can see the black nose. Like, oh, put it back.
No, but they will smell it, and it'll be a trend. So one of you has to stand guard. You see, so Pete's having a dump. I'm looking for polar bears. I see one on the horizon. I'll fire off a shot, scare it off.
Staying upwind of him.
Well, yes. Then again, you'd be all wrapped up, wouldn't you? But yeah, you got to get your arse out, and of course you got to do it fast. You're gonna get frostbite.
Yeah.
It's literally 1 up, 1 down, 1 to polish. You're out of there.
You don't want constipation, do you?
You don't want a turd to freeze half out.
No, but at the same time, I don't want liquid shit from butter.
Quicker though, isn't it?
I suppose it is, but you're gonna get a bit sore down there after a while, isn't it?
Lovely. Next.
Adults spend about half their time daydreaming.
Yep.
Yeah, I can believe that.
It's not so much daydream, it's thinking about fucking life and everything that's going on and what you got to do and
Ways to overthrow the government, yeah.
Ways I can become the living god emperor of mankind. Yeah, I think about that a lot.
Sure you do.
Doesn't surprise me.
Sits there in his chair at home stroking his dog. Like,
And the dog.
how will I take over the world? Excellent.
Join me or die tactics, that's what I decided on.
Fair enough.
A single editor has removed the phrase comprised of from Wikipedia 47,000 times.
Right. Just for a prank?
Footnotes.
Is he a grammar Nazi?
Must be.
doesn't-
I hate this phrase. I'm going to eradicate it from the whole of Wikipedia.
Sweet.
Oh man, it's the fucking thought police. It's
Yeah.
newspeak. It's the start of it.
Well, some things are comprised of others.
I'd do that with the word Brexit. I'd like that to
Yeah.
be eradicated.
Yeah, I wish I'd never heard that.
Yeah, that word needs to be
But
eradicated.
what's wrong with comprised of?
Maybe he doesn't feel it's grammatically correct. I don't know. Maybe he's just a fucking memer and he's doing it for the lols.
47,000 times?
Yeah.
Jesus.
He's got obsessive compulsive disorder.
Just a bit. You know what he could have achieved in that
It's
time?
clearly not got fuck all else to do.
There is that too, yeah. State of the economy, that is, Pete. If he had a job, he wouldn't have to sit there editing Wikipedia. Maybe that is his job.
Maybe.
Does anyone know what the word is for fear of the Welsh?
Is it in Welsh?
Half of it.
Cymru.
What do they Cymru? Cymru phobia.
No. It would be...
It's got to have phobia at the end of it.
Yep.
Cymru... Hold on. Let me think.
Well, this bit's English, isn't it?
Kid... No, that's black. No, go on.
It's basically, it is that near enough. It's Cymrophobia.
Cymrophobia.
Yeah, whatever the Welsh... Who scared the Welsh?
They don't like the English very much.
They don't.
They really don't.
But I mean, like, as a...
So I was a bit afraid a lot.
They don't give me nightmares.
No.
I don't get freaked out if I'm near a Welsh person. I'm like, oh, it's Welsh. What's so scary about them? Why would you want to have you? I don't do clowns, who am I judge?
It's those clubs that they walk around with. Those big clubs, you know, like the hair and the fact they all live in caves.
Oh, are you suggesting the Welsh are closer related than the Neanderthals? Pete, they're a proud Celtic nation.
I'm joking.
Knuckle dragging fuckers.
They have electricity.
No, I'm joking again.
They actually have electricity now. They might hear some of these podcasts. So.
Hey, we're pretty close to Wales, so we can't talk.
No.
I've been told I sound Welsh.
You don't
Really?
sound Welsh, boy. Oh.
I was talking to someone. They said it sounds like I've got a Welsh tint to my accent. I said, "No, that's just Shropshire."
No, boy. Oh, that's just Shropshire. That is, boy. Oh.
We're pretty close, aren't we?
Isn't it?
Yep.
See.
Well, Oswestry is literally on the border, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's in Shropshire.
It takes
Half the town's in Wales, half of it's in England.
40 minutes, you're in Wales.
Mm.
So, yeah.
In 1995, a surgeon performed emergency surgery in flight,
Cool.
using a clothes hanger sterilised in cognac as his
Badass.
surgical tools,
Oof.
What a badass.
That is pretty badass.
and the patient survived.
And I bet he drank the cognac after. It's like, yes.
He'd have drank half of it first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the patient would have drank half of it first, probably.
Yeah.
Not the doctor. He
I
wasn't
don't know what
performing.
he's cutting apart, what
He's
operation
using-
he's doing.
He's using a coat hanger. So what's it's interesting what he's doing with a coat hanger? Because it's not a cutting tool.
Well,
It could be.
stab it in enough times.
Yeah, but it depends what he's trying to do.
He heats
We don't
it
know
up.
what he's doing, do we? There's no mention of the operation was performed.
Either way.
It's gone
Impressive.
through skin.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, still badass.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a doctor on the plane? Yep.
Get me a coat hanger.
Dr. Mantis Toboggan. That's some Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference.
It'd be worse if he comes along and goes, "Hi, I'm Dr. Nick."
You're alright, I'll pass.
That was probably a shit impression, but hey ho.
It wasn't too bad.
You knew who I meant.
It wasn't too bad.
The world's most overdue library book was 287 years overdue. It was,
Fucking hell, imagine the bill for that. Jesus.
Colonel Robert Walpole borrowed it from Sydney Sussex College in Cambridge in 1667. His biographer found it among his papers and returned it to the college in 1956.
That's quite hilarious.
Tight bastard. Could have just bought the book.
I'd have sold it back to him.
Was a colonel, one. He must have
Yeah.
some money.
He probably went off way to see us something, didn't he? So
Just forgot about the
the
book.
book wasn't the first thing on his mind when he got called up by his queen country or king or
Well, he's
whatever
been
it
clearly
was.
sent to India and he's like, I take this book with me to read on the voyage. I had no intention of returning it.
Yeah. I'm going away tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to the library.
It's like a 3-month journey just to India, and another 20 years you could be there if you don't die.
Is there a rhyme for orange in the English language?
Yes. I read this the other day. I don't remember the word, but there is.
There is one.
There
It's
is
a
one.
porringer.
There's two actually. What did you say?
One of them is a porringer.
No.
Yeah, it is, because that porridge does rhyme with orange. So yeah, a porringer is one. And I'll
It's
tell you
not
what,
down here. I'm going to down
I'll
here.
tell you what a
Well,
porringer is.
fucked up facts as the authority. What's the 2 words, Mike?
Go on.
Bloringe,
Right.
a mountain in Wales,
Okay.
and sporinge, a sack where spores are made.
Ah. Sploringe. What a great word.
A porringer is a type of pan, and it originated in medieval periods
It doesn't rhyme with orange, does it? A porringer.
Porringe.
You said a porringer?
Yeah, porringer, orange. It's one of the only things that does rhyme with orange. Porringer.
It's just orange with P stuck in the front of it, though.
No, ER in the end. Is it,
But oranger is oranger than that rhymes.
That rhymes with oranger. Doesn't rhyme with orange, sorry.
Okay, go on, yeah.
Close though. Blorange and sporange apparently.
I think they're made up words. I'm pretty sure they're made up words.
Orange.
I watched QI and they said the only thing that rhymed with orange was ploringer. And even then it doesn't actually rhyme with it because of the ER, but it's the closest word that does rhyme with
I
orange.
think this might actually be a recent thing that these words have actually been rediscovered.
This was a Stephen Fry episode, which he's not been on it for a few years.
Yeah, and all facts have a half-life.
Yeah.
Because I did see this recently, was they discovered a word or something like that. Still old words get discovered and they're translating shit in old documents, so they're going through them.
Yeah.
They don't know every word, do they?
No.
So
Okay.
Nostradamus' prediction to shite.
We'll end on this one. By 2100, dead Facebook users will outnumber the living.
Oh man.
Wow.
Does that mean we've got to look at the zombie Facebook profiles?
I think Facebook will be dead by then.
It's not Facebook now, Mike, it's the metaverse.
See, blorange, sorry, blorange ain't a fucking word. Blorange is a new word, and it's because it's a blend of blonde and orange, or blood orange.
It's a slang, so it's okay.
So, yeah, I know, but it's technically not a word.
Is it
Mountain in Wales, it's in Welsh.
And there is a hill in Wales.
That's it, yeah, it's named after a hill, it's legit.
Yeah, I said British, yeah. Maybe not in the English language, but in the British language.
No, it's named after something, it's legit, isn't it? It's,
Yeah.
That mountain was
It's a
named
word.
before they had oranges in the UK.
It's a word, isn't it? So, yeah.
Right then, let's end the show. We'll be back next week with part 2 of Fairies and the Cottingley Fairies. I will sign off and say thank you very much for listening. I've been Ben. Don't drink the Flavour Aid and don't join a cult. And, don't ride a horse into the sea.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening, peace out, may the force be with you.
And I've been Claire, keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills out your ears.
And I've been Pete. Aim low, but shoot high.